I woke up in the hospital, confused and still scared. The beeping of the heart monitor was loud in my ears. My wife was sitting beside me, her face pale.
What happened to you?
She asked, her voice shaky. I didn't have an answer. How could I explain? How could I tell her about the shadows, about Chioma, and the things I saw? I'm fine, I said. I just passed out. I'll be okay. But inside, I knew it wasn't just that. It wasn't over. A few days later, I was out of the hospital and back at home. The doctor said it was stress, maybe a panic attack. But I wasn't convinced. Something was wrong. The shadows were still with me, in my mind, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were closing in.
Let's go to Ghana. We can spend the holidays there. It will be a fresh start.
It was Christmas and my wife thought a change of scenery might help. She suggested. I didn't argue. I needed a break from everything, especially from the shadows. So, we packed our bags and flew to Ghana. The flight to Ghana had felt like an escape. My wife thought the change of scenery would help, that I just needed to leave the past behind. But deep down, I knew I wasn't running from the school or from Chioma. I was running from the shadows. Yet, here I was, standing on a quiet Ghanaian beach at midnight on Christmas Eve, and they had found me again. The night was cold, darker than it should have been. The beach was quiet except for the soft crash of waves, but I could feel something watching me. The air felt heavy, charged with something unseen. My body tensed as I turned slowly. And then I saw them. 3 figures standing a few feet away, barely visible in the dim light. Their forms flickered like smoke, shifting and swaying. My heart pounded. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. A third shadow stepped forward. Its shape was human, but its face, if it had one, was lost in darkness. When it spoke, the voice was deep and layered, like many voices speaking at once. You've been running, it said. But you cannot escape. Who are you? I whispered, my voice trembling. We are what you fear, the shadow replied. What you deny. What you refuse to understand. My chest tightened. What do you want from me? Why do you keep following me? The shadow tilted its head, as if amused. You were chosen, whether you wanted it or not. Chosen for what? I shouted, anger breaking through my fear. To bear the truth. I stared at the shadows, confused and terrified. What truth? What does this have to do with Chioma? The first shadow, smaller and quieter, stepped forward. Its voice was softer, almost gentle. She was a vessel, a door. Through her, we came. She didn't know what she was, but her presence awakened us. The second shadow chimed in, its tone darker. And when she left, we stayed. Because of you? Me. I took a step back. What do I have to do with any of this? You noticed us, the third shadow said. You felt us, even when no one else did. Your fear gave us strength. Your curiosity drew us closer. I shook my head, trying to make sense of their words. So, you're some kind of spirits. Ghosts. We are older than those words, the shadow replied. We are what lies between the light and the dark. The fears people bury. The truths they refuse to see. I swallowed hard, my mind racing. What do you want from me? I asked again, my voice breaking. The shadows moved closer, and I felt the air grow colder. We want you to understand, it said. You have seen us. You have felt us. Now you must choose. Choose what? I whispered. To run, or to face what you fear most. My head spun. I don't understand. Face what? What am I supposed to do? The first shadow spoke again, its voice softer now. You must return to where it began. To the school. To Chioma's desk. I shook my head. No. I can't go back there. You must, the third shadow insisted. Because if you don't, we will follow you forever. And we are not the only ones watching. I stumbled backward, the weight of their words crushing me. What does that mean? Who else is watching? The second shadow chuckled, a low, menacing sound. You'll find out soon enough. Before I could respond, the shadows began to fade, their forms dissolving into the night. Their voices lingered, echoing in my mind. Return to the school. Face the truth. Or the new year will bring something far worse. I collapsed onto the sand, shaking, my heart racing. The beach was quiet again, the shadows gone. But their words stayed with me. I sat by the water, staring at the horizon as the first light of dawn crept over the waves. Slowly, I began to piece it together. The shadows weren't just spirits, they were tied to me. To my fear. To my curiosity. To my refusal to let go of what had happened with Chioma. Something that had been waiting for someone like me, someone who would notice, someone who would be drawn in. And now, they wanted me to understand. To go back to where it all began. But what would I find there? What truth was so terrible that even the shadows feared it? As Christmas morning arrived, I realized there was no escape. The shadows were right. I couldn't keep running. The only way to end this was to return to the school. But a new question haunted me: what if the truth I found was worse than the shadows themselves?
To find out what happens next, subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for the next episode of The Mysteries of Chioma. If you enjoyed this story, please support the channel by liking, sharing, and leaving your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more thrilling stories to life.